All right, traders, good afternoon. This is Christian from Hertz Tribeca Trade Group, and today is Monday, the 14th of September. We got Monday Night Football on tonight, but first things first, nice day for the markets today. You had the averages all up today, led by the small caps. They were up 2.6%. Really strong performance there. You had SPY up 1.3%. Q's up 1.7%, diamonds up 1.2%. So pretty much across the board, and being helped by the small caps, which I think are always good to see a nice rally in that. And they also rallied the hardest from the open too. So impressive price action there for the semis and the biotech. IMMU was the deal that was announced over the weekend, and that was a nice catalyst for the small caps. I mean, this was a huge day for biotech, up 6.8% for the day. They were one of the sectors that to me looked really troubling. And when I put together the video for TTG and members, I was saying one of the things that just doesn't look right is the healthcare space. So nice to see a deal to kind of get this group going. Here was the performance of this group today. We'll just bring up the movers. Of course, IMMU was the leader there. That's in both XBI and IBB. But you had a number of other names do pretty well today. EXEL up 14%, SGEN that was up 14.5%. This is the IBB ETF. And if you want to look at this across all of biotech, right, equally weighted biotech, you could see some smaller cap names were in there too. Clovis, TPTX was up 13.5%. ZIOP was up 12%. So a lot of names there, almost covering this first whole page, up over 10%. So real strong performance, and again, I think if you look across in small caps, that was one of the reasons why small caps got going today. Also, you could see clean energy shares. We'll talk a lot about that. Names like Tesla, Workhorse were very strong today. Solar, you could see in there as well, up 4.3% for the day. You had the gold miners in there too. Metals and miners were up 3.3% for the day, and then it just kind of carried through. You had a lot of other groups that did that were up over 2%. So what does this translate to? Strong breath. Pretty nice breath. You can see on the bottom left of my screen, the NYSE on our indicator here was up 5. Nasdaq up 5 as well. So again, very strong breath, and I think we needed that. Right, that was one of the major, the big questions was, can this market breath come back? Because it looked very atrocious, and I won't have that advanced decline line out till tomorrow because it doesn't get published by Bloomberg. But if we look at these, oops, I just had it. The advanced decline line. You could see how ugly this got coming into today. It kind of looked like it was ready for, either a breakdown or a bounce. So we got the bounce, which I think is very good. Now, we'll go over a couple of today's movers. This DraftKings and Penn, which a lot of traders in the room were playing today. This was one of our picks for the week. So if we go to our picks, remember, what we do at Tribeca Trade Group is we put out a watch list over the weekend. We put out both a macro video, right, which covers just about everything, and covers what I like to call above the hood, price and trend, and below the hood, all the indicators and internals. And we do that video, and then we also do a watch list video. And one of my names was DraftKings, up 17% today. We also had Camping World, which is also up after hours. JD.com, LYB. A few of the materials names, which I thought looked very good coming into the week. LIN, that one underperformed today, but Honeywell was up 1.2%. So even though I was seeing some nice strength in the steel and the industrial names and the material names, it was some other groups. We also talked about the home builders, right? Those were close to up 2%. Zillow was up 2.1%, and so I think you had some pretty good performance overall, but nice to see what our, what our watch list did again today outperformed S&P. We're really benchmarked to S&P here. By the way, the watch list outperformed last week too. It was down for the week, but it performed better than SPY. So again, good to see that. And we do go ahead and we buy this on the open. So I'm happy obviously to see that outperform very well. All right. So yeah, DK DraftKings. There was news on this one. I mean, this looks like a really nice chart, doesn't it? And then of course, Penn, which broke out last week, continued to move higher as well. This went up another 10%. So pockets of strength throughout this market. Even though if it's kind of funny, if you look at the FANG stocks today, those were the weakest. One of the weakest areas of the market today. They were only up. If you look at the FDN Frank David Nancy ETF, that is the internet ETF, up less than 1%. So really underperforming there. One theory that could be why this group outperformed is there's a lot of IPOs this week. So funds have to make room. And what do? They basically sell some of the names that they can, right? They're not just sitting with cash, right? They're invested. So to make room for some of these IPOs, they're selling, right? And probably selling the crowded FANG stocks. So I think that had to do with some of their performance. Even though we saw a colossal amount of Apple calls today, it finally got going at the end of the day, finished up 3%, and it did turn the corner. So, it was one of my questions on the day was what was Apple going to do? And it finally got going there at the end of the day. Frustrating trade. It almost broke down, around 2 o'clock today, and then managed to power through. I guess that was 12 to 1, maybe. Yeah. So that was Apple. Ended up being strong, but names like Amazon. One of these things that I kind of was my plan for the day was to sell into the strength, right? I had came in, long a few things like Adobe, Amazon, and sold those things. I wasn't trying to get, I would have liked to get a home run in this call spread that we put out on Friday, but it just wasn't there. So I'm happy to take a gain rather than it being a loss because Amazon sold off throughout the session, finished down on the day, believe it or not. So pretty odd to see that happen. And we traded a couple of things like also Workhorse, right? So Tesla was very strong. That continues to kind of ramp into this battery day that they're having. But nice to see this Workhorse breakout. That was one of the ones that I traded. Let's just look at this Tesla. So another, name that is also, I think, some of these names are not in the major indices. So I think with the major indices seeing some selling pressure over the last week or 2 weeks, right? It's nice because these names, they're not in the indices, right? So sometimes you can look at these things and you're like, wow, why is this name outperforming so well? Well, one of the reasons, now, of course, it's got its own catalyst and so forth, but one of the reasons too, it's not caught up in the indices, right? So if there's selling pressure in the indices, names like Apple, the big names, they're going to get caught up in that. The smaller cap names have a real good chance to outperform in that situation. All right. So this, and I wanted to mention this Tesla, the approach the top of value here. So again, very strong. It did take out this VPOC. So, this was something that we were talking about earlier in the trading room. This was 413, right around 413, this level is taken out. So, not to say that this is going to be a complete fade from here, but I would watch this level going forward for the rest of the week. All right, a few other names. GSX. Now I know this is not an easy name to trade. It's got short sellers all over the place, but this thing's set up pretty well, and there was some option activity in this one too. This retook the 50-day moving average. I'm still long a bit of shares of this one. I'm still long a little bit of Workhorse as well for the breakout. All right. Also a few other ones that we traded. DRI, I mentioned, I actually got out of this name today. I forgot I had a limit order out there, but this looks pretty strong in here. So again, a lot of different names showing up on the radar for today. What else did I do today? Also, SE, I believe, tried to turn the corner here a bit. That's up to 147. It's one of my favorite names to buy. buy the dip on. So again, nice performance. Not everything performed obviously equally, which it never does, but strength out of the transportations again. Look at CSX up 2.3%. So again, we'll see if we can get a little bit of follow through. I think that we're upon a level that's coming up here on two different time frames for the S&P 3390. That's a level that we broke into. Now we're going to have to retake that. And also, if you want to see on the 1 hour as well, we tagged that level perfectly, 3394. So again, this market to me remains, now that we've had these 2 weeks of volatility and obviously a nice day today, but we need to turn the corner, right? We've been seeing these lower highs throughout the last 2 weeks. Lower here, lower here, lower here, lower here, lower here, lower here. Now we did, break this, but really we got to get through 3394, and I think that'll kind of help out this market quite a bit. We could look at IWM as well. Like I said, that was the star performer. That did make it through the top of value, but needs to get through that 200 period moving average. So 153 there. And Q's, which did not make it, is also in value for the week. That needs to get above 278. Okay, so there's some levels to watch in the index. And, basically, I think right now, while we're in September, basically what I did was take off some of that short-term risk like Amazon and make sure I'm taking targets in some other names and leave the last piece of the trades on for now. But, you want to make sure that you're, for me, that I'm being prudent here and taking off positions into strength and then leaving plenty of dry powder because September we know is a very tricky month. All right, guys, have a great night. See you tomorrow.